Hey everyone, this is your Minion of the East, and I'm going to try and do something a little different this time. Uh, First of all, these are videos are going to be completely unscripted, of course, and these are just going to be based on my personal opinion on here. So that said, these are going to be a short, personalized reviews on books that I like or have read, and I just want to give my thoughts on it. So that said, I figured the first book I want to talk about is one of my favorite graphic novel series of all time. And I started reading this back when I was in middle school, let's say around 7th grade. That book would be Bone. Now, based on the title and on the cover, you would think, wow, this looks really childish. But don't let the title deceive you at all. This series is really fun, adventurous, and oftentimes it can be pretty dark in the very most innocent of places. As if you continue to read the franchise, it will go dark in many places, and I think this is a good idea for children to be introduced into those type of dark elements. It's set in this fantasy world, kind of almost like Lord of the Rings. Well, not absolutely, but kind of like the general feeling you get from it, like the mythos, the setting of the humans, and our title character right here and his two cousins, they're the only cartoony looking characters aside from the other animals and people they come across on the journey. But with that said, let me give you the basic synopsis of the story. Our main hero, Bone here, and his two cousins are thrown out of town after some sort of election botch that his cousin Phony Bone tried to do, and so they're running out of town, and they've been running for weeks and almost a month, I believe, and they have no idea where they are. So they end up in this desert, and they happen to find a map. But they then get separated by a swarm of locusts, and so Bone here decides to follow the map he found, which takes him to this valley, which is completely a place that he's never seen before, in hopes of finding his cousins and eventually hoping to find a way home. So it's a nice little adventure story, and as you would later find out, without going into too many spoilers, there's a very much bigger story once you start getting to the end of this book. And I think that's a good idea for people to continue to read this series and see where it goes from there. Because from the first 2 or 3 books, it's the end of one story and goes into the next story, and you're thinking, wow, what's going to happen? And as you can see, it's a nice full comic book, and it's got colored pages all over it. So anyone can read this. I read this when I was in middle school. Of course, I was going through that almost young teenager phase. I wanted to see stuff that was much older, more mature, but it still had charm. I still liked what was seen in the book. Some childish at times, but it had good humor. Very nice adventure setting. Very nice fantasy elements that could be shown at any age, honestly. And if you want to show this to some of your younger kids, if they want to get into the fantasy genre, I'd say this is a good place to start. It's not that difficult to read, but the pages and the colors may be able to interest them. I want to say older elementary school would be, I think, the perfect place to start. And if you want to start continuing this over the years, which I did, you can still read these. But I'd say the recommended time that most people would read these would be around middle school, high school. Again, it's one of those times where you don't judge the book by its literal cover. So I think it's a really good book series. I suggest you take a look at it too. I enjoyed it, and it's still one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. I have the entire series, and I might cover the other books in the future. This video gets enough recognition as it does. But that said, just wanted to know what you guys' thoughts and opinions on this book and on this video in general. So, with that said, this has been your Minion of the East. Until next time, take care, everyone.